Hello everyone, this is Venus Brown, and I am back with the grand finale of The Crown. This is Season 6, Episode 10, the very last episode, called Sleep, Dearie Sleep. And the information says the Queen gives Charles the green light to wed Camilla, tasked with planning her own funeral. Ahead of her 80th birthday, she faces an existential crisis. So it doesn't look like any actual deaths are occurring, but she has to plan her death. I don't have a problem with planning my death. To me, that's an important thing, and I can kind of disconnect myself from it enough to be okay with it. But I know some people find that to be very sensitive territory, and so they don't want to talk about it. I guess it's just too much for them, so they don't want to deal with it. But I'm kind of a planner, so I do want a lot of that stuff in place just in case something happens. I don't want my family and my friends and my loved ones left in a lurch if I exit this world. So I give them the information, let them know what I expect, and we move on with our lives and we continue on. But I think with the Queen, we're talking about somebody who's already fairly well advanced in age and has this crown that they know that is going to be given to their son after she dies. And that probably does add a lot of extra weight to her shoulders. Probably adds a lot of extra weight to his shoulders. It's a very prickly predicament. All right, so let's get started with the show. That's how I feel a lot in the morning.
Did we ever discover what that was about?
They wouldn't say. It's not normally a good sign.
Yeah, they like to hide things from you when they don't want you to know about them. When it's something uncomfortable. Like they don't understand that you're the Queen or something.
Marry me. That's not a proposal. I can't do that without my mother's permission, but I realize more than anything in the world, I want you to be my wife.
And I think everybody's known that in this circle for a long time.
It's a complete disaster.
It is a tense idea, but...
Of Operation London Bridge.
We know what it is, Edward.
If Prince Philip knew about this, why didn't he just tell her?
Statistically, men tend to die earlier.
I mean, I would assume that they would have already had a lot of plans already in place. It seems weird that they would wait until this point to plan the funeral for the Queen.
The gun carriage will be drawn by the Sovereign's guard.
I'm glad I have a fairly decent amount of control over the actual ceremony. I can plan those ahead of time without a bunch of laws and regulations like interfering, like forcing stuff like this. I would not want something big and expensive and outrageous. I don't want to interfere with my family's ability to get on with it. Just take care of grieving rather than having to plot and plan everything and come up with the money to deal with everything. I want that stuff all laid out. But I wouldn't want anything big and crazy. And here it is, the introduction to The Crown, Season 6. Remember, if you like this content, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't done it already, you can click the subscribe. And if you would like more notifications later, you can click the little bell and click all. And here it comes, The Crown.
The Prime Minister's just coming out, sir.
Do you remember when he first came to power? They took to the streets and cheered. Now they want to impeach him for high crimes and misdemeanors. The career of prime ministers is nasty, brutish, and short.
Wars are difficult things. I think people tend to be okay when wars start, but they do not like them going on for long at all.
I've come to make a request I wish I'd made 30 years ago.
This should sound more appealing to you
To ask
than
your blessing
your funeral.
to marry Camilla. Can't say this has come out of the blue, Mummy. She and I have been in love now for 30 years.
It's a long time.
For years and years, Camilla has suffered judgment and calumny and never, ever complained. Not once. That is heroic.
I could go along with that, from what I've seen.
Making happy the person who's next in line.
That's a valid point. You want to, like, keep things on an even keel and get things going in a direction that they're going to need to go when he does step up.
He's your strength and stay.
Yep. What would you do without your partner?
I will reflect on it
He's definitely got his flaws.
and give you an answer soon.
What's the theme? Colonials and natives. Could have picked a more offensive theme. You'd have never said that before you went to uni. Now I am saying it. Cliche. Hold on, hold on. Oh my God.
Can you come down, please?
It's never good when they come in packs.
I think I'd like to grant it.
For the Church of England to be seen to be blessing it could risk a split in the Anglican Communion.
It probably would, but you're gonna deal with those kind of splits and you need to learn how to deal with them.
It would do less damage than if I were to die and my heir acceded to the throne while living in sin.
True.
Afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Her Highness, Her Majesty will see you now.
Get a sense of what is going on. What are we walking into?
Would you be very cross if I suggest we go for a walk?
That apparently was not a question.
The last time we had an unmarried king on the throne, it did not end well.
Yeah, but
William?
Both of us prefer to think of him with Mummy. Anything other than feels... Wrong, so wrong.
I'm glad that she's talking to them. Find it weird that Dad's not talking to them.
Is that a yes?
Harry's like, what?
Thank you. I didn't want to give my blessing until you'd given yours.
Harry hasn't, but this seems to be the way of things. You get like a yes from one side and no from the other, and they're just gonna go along with whatever side they're gonna go along with and ignore the other side.
Changing your tune. I'm just trying to be an adult.
Yeah, children don't usually, even adult children don't usually have the say in who their parents are going to marry or not marry. And it was a long time in coming. No need to keep dragging it on and on. Of course, the children are not gonna like it.
Harry's more gritted than William's.
Much.
I worry about Harry.
Some time in the army should sort him out.
I definitely grew up and became more responsible in the army, but a lot of things were messed up in the army also. I think I could have grown up and become responsible in some other way.
Good night.
I do find the separate bedrooms thing a little weird. I know a lot of cultures do that. But then again, I don't mind sleeping in my bed by myself.
But is there a particular one that you like?
Me? No, I particularly like Sleep, Dearie Sleep.
Will you play it for me?
It's like when you teach somebody and you're passionate about something. I think that it's different than how you teach something if you're not passionate about it.
So you lie down on your wee pickle straw. Sleep, dearie, sleep.
Lying.
That's a good astronaut suit.
Oh, come on. Wearing the outfit doesn't make him a Nazi. Isn't that the
Yeah,
joke?
but it's still
Who stole my Gandra?
What in the hell?
I want to be free.
Yes.
I want to break free from your lies. You're so self-satisfied. I don't need you.
Oh. Is it in the paper? Probably.
Oh, Harry.
You chose to wear it, and you knew it was offensive. And not just offensive, hurtful. Like, seriously hurtful. There are some things in history that are so hurtful and damaging to massive groups of people that it's best completely freaking left alone. You can learn about it in history class and museums and stuff like that, but you don't need to emblazon it all over the place. Wear it on yourself.
For forgiveness.
Is that the advice you'll be giving yourself over Iraq? Things are not working out too well over there.
No, they're not. How many times have we had to do that?
Strategy. That's a subject that's been coming up a lot recently.
And I believe these exits are important. Like, we can't keep doing the same thing and going on and on and on with a war that isn't going anywhere, that it isn't being won by anyone, and is just causing turmoil. And freaking all of those wars. Iran war, the Iraq war, the Afghanistan war, the Vietnam war, this fucking Ukrainian war. Like, it needs to end. All of this shit needs to end. The Israeli-Hamas-Gaza war that's going on. Like, really, what is happening? What are we gaining? Playing one group of people to try to annihilate another group of people. Haven't we learned from that in the past? And I recognize they're trying to eliminate a terrorist group, but in the process, they are eliminating a lot of innocent civilians. And they don't really seem to be trying not to. And I have a problem with that.
Ma'am.
That crown. Was that one of the kinds of crowns they showed in Bridgerton that one family had made?
Bloody unlucky that a fellow guest should go to the newspapers like that.
That's not called unlucky. That's called what you should expect.
The German Africa Corps never wore swastikas.
I would have said you shouldn't be carrying that costume.
A lack of a sense of purpose due to a failure of responsible parenting.
Yes.
Do you want to discuss anything before I go? The funeral.
No.
She's like, I stirred up enough. I don't need to stir it up more.
You coward. Thinking since you first started working on your funeral. In fact, since the Golden Jubilee. How tired. No, not just tired.
Oh my gosh.
Exhausted you are by it all. And at the same time, how ready he suddenly looked.
Oh, him. Sometimes you gotta have a little talk with yourself.
You've been on the throne for over half a century. That's longer than any other queen.
Yeah, but she was doing a good job.
You're almost 80 years old.
So everyone keeps reminding me.
Your first loyalty has always been to the crown, sometimes at the expense of being a mother.
All that she has lost, she could at least have a little while without all of that responsibility on her shoulders all the time. Weird, too.
It would be wrong for you to attend the ceremony in person.
I think being at a wedding doesn't mean that you condone everything about the wedding. And it shouldn't, even if you're the queen.
Can you stop bickering, please? I beg you.
Not likely. Pretty sure their bickering is going on till today, and it will go on for years. Decades, probably. I have no idea how his wedding day went. That wasn't something that I watched.
Riding the waves of emotion, which is understandable after what they've been through.
They're hurt.
Are they going to blame me, do you think?
Being their father, you are responsible. I'm in. For whatever being married to you turns out to be.
Queen consort.
Queen intends to make a speech at the reception afterwards.
Yeah, not that speech. Don't jump to conclusions. You had a hard enough time convincing her to go along with the marriage. She's been pretty adamant about not handing down the reins.
Anne rang Andrew, and he went riding with the Queen, but you know Andrew.
She's like, I'm keeping everyone in suspense. Ha 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 ha. Y'all have ideas, but your ideas are wrong.
Just think about the boys.
Thank you, darling.
Think about the boys, work on the boys, and stop making assumptions about what her speech is going to be. Just let it happen. And then you can worry about what her speech is.
A few years ago, it would have pissed me off. Now I just don't care. She'd never do that. If she did, why on Pa's big day? It's the wedding present he most wants.
Yeah, I just wouldn't have even made it that. I understand why they're making the assumption, but it's not a wise assumption to make. She has been going the other direction all along. She hasn't really given any signs that she's going to do that she's changed her mind about that.
He was assassinated by his brother, would you believe was also called Prince Harry Winchester, to claim the throne for himself.
I'm not gonna lie, I do love all the pageantry and everything. That's how I've been feeling lately. Grumpy, angry, irritable.
On the way to the civil marriage ceremony.
I don't know what you think you're doing.
I'm doing the sensible thing, the responsible thing. If we're not careful.
That you can still be of service to your country. Hasn't it been done before? If it's been done before, why couldn't it be done again? I still say she never really gave any signs that she was going to forfeit the role in the first place. So if she does, she does. But that's something you can plan during and after the speech, not before.
If you step down, you will be symbolizing instability and impermanence.
And see, I would think that if she was going to do something like that, she would have told some of the top people ahead of time so they could prepare. And that did not happen, at least not on this.
They all seem to make such a mess of it.
I didn't say that.
I feel like the more middle-aged queen would have been better playing this part. I felt like she was more this way. Whereas in her younger years, she was a little more free.
But what about the life I put aside? The woman I put aside?
What sort of question is that?
A legitimate question. One Elizabeth that has had to set multiple amounts of things aside. Well, we all evolve to different people as we age. She could still take a little time and respite for herself.
Want to discuss it?
Quite sure. Thank you.
She's been discussing it with herself, at least according to the Crown.
Grant that we may ever hereafter serve and please thee.
I thought they were doing a civil ceremony. Why would that be in the church in front of all God and country when civil ceremonies are generally not done in a church?
Start these things with an introduction. For those of you who don't know me, I am the mother of the groom. Black Prince. He set his heart on a woman he had known his whole life, a mother who had previously been married. What ensued was a devoted, loving marriage that would last their whole lives. Being Prince of Wales is hardly a recipe for happiness. History has taught us that. So now, will you all raise your glasses to the young couple?
See, and I wouldn't expect anything less, more, or different because she always has a way of, like, being even keeled, presenting a certain amount of respect and courtesy.
Sure you didn't forget half of it?
I don't know what you're talking about. In many ways, it's harder being number two than number one. Number two tends to need extra care and attention.
Not that much unalike compared to her and Margaret.
And melting into air. God's sake, take a bloody photograph, will you?
Okay, chill out. Grumpy old man.
Still, it defines the crown.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Whate'er the course.
There you go, that's it.
Thank you.
All right. And not a hint of the torment you've been going through.
Was it that obvious?
Yes. You were born ready.
You are one of a kind.
The system makes no sense anymore to those outside it, nor to those of us inside it.
That ought to tell you something. Now, I wonder how similar the Church of England is to the Catholic Church, because those ceremonies seem very Catholic to me. And I was brought up Lutheran. I think our ceremonies were fairly similar to the Catholics also, but at its foundation, I wonder what the difference is. So they're just going backwards in age group. So they got the younger one looking all angry, and I don't remember her being like that. Maybe they could have gone the other direction. Started with the youngest, then gone to the one where we started the show with. Then her middle-aged self, and now her. Got any wise words of wisdom for the ending? Nope, just black screen and credits. All right, so that was the end of the season finale of The Crown. I think it was probably good to go over the whole wedding, the funeral planning, and all of that. I didn't really care for this storyline of her contemplating handing down the reins. I just don't feel like that was a thing that was really going on, but I could be wrong. I was not in tune with what was going on with the monarchy at the time of that period in history, so I wouldn't know. It just seems like throughout the show, they have presented her as not being on the side of handing down the reins at any point. It just seems like an odd thing to play off of, and really awkward to change that at the last minute and just decide all of a sudden, no, I'm not going to do that. I would think that it would have been more fully planned, and that she would have mulled that over in her head a lot sooner, whether she was going to do something like that. And if she was going to do something like that, I would have figured she would have chimed somebody in so that the proper people could start planning, because that is the kind of person that she seemed to be. She seemed to be a planner, somebody who wanted things to be done the right way. And even if she was going to hand down the reins, there would be a particular process in place that I would think she would want to follow and make sure that everybody was on the right page. And that was not happening. So I don't buy it. And like I said, I would have preferred the age groups to have been kind of reversed, so that the younger one would have been starting out like more cheery and free and that kind of thing, because that's how she was when she was younger. And then the older ones gradually getting more like closed off and all about the tradition and the way things are and the way things have to be and following the rules. Yes, she was trying to follow the rules and do all the right things when she was young, but she was still doing it in a more free way, and she was still trying to be herself and take a stand in a way that she felt was right. Plus, I felt like in The Crown, when she got to that middle-aged place where Olivia Colman was playing her, she was playing a more stern person. I think when we get older, we do tend to become more stern. We become more grumpy. Like I said, that face that Harry was making, that's how I felt a lot lately. I am getting older and I am feeling more grumpy and irritable. And I think that has a lot to do with age. Has a lot to do with other things too, but I think it has a lot to do with age. But anyway, it's the last episode. It's the last episode. This is it. There's no more Crown after this. Now, I've heard there could be a spin-off, but I also had read an article that if they do a spin-off, it's not likely to happen anytime soon, like in the next couple years or so. I will continue to look for stuff on royalty, royal families, and stuff like that, just not necessarily this royal family. I'm interested in a variety of areas. I also am interested in like magic and pageantry and stuff like that. Make-believe, drama. I do watch Bridgerton, but I don't plan on doing any reactions to Bridgerton, just in case anybody is wondering. I don't know. Maybe I could find some sort of series that I would be willing to watch that is about some sort of royal family that's not The Crown. Right now, though, I'm starting on Death Note. I plan to start doing episodes of The In-Betweeners. I will be working on my Blast from the Past. Right now, I'm working on Supernatural Season 3. After I finish that, I will start working on Handmaid's Tale Season 3. There is a medical drama I'm thinking about doing reactions to later on called New Amsterdam. That'll be later on down the road, so I hope to see you on some of my other reactions. Feel free to comment if you like. That's all I have for you this week. Bye. I'll see you when I see you. If you like this video, please click the like button. If you want more content, click subscribe. If you click that little bell and click all, then you'll get more content notifications.